UN peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo is preparing to deploy its first ceasefire monitoring team in the coming days, according to Qatar's foreign ministry. The team is expected to go to Uvira, a strategic city in the east that was recently retaken by government forces after the M23 rebels withdrew. Qatar says both sides have agreed on terms for the monitoring mechanism under a previous ceasefire deal, signaling progress in Doha-mediated negotiations. Separate U.S.-led talks between the DRC and Rwanda are also underway. This latest push to activate ceasefire monitoring comes amid persistent fighting in the east, which has faced decades of conflict, which has caused ongoing instability and a worsening humanitarian crisis. Let's get more of this. For more of this, we are now joined by our correspondent, Chris Ochemringa, who is live for us in Kinshasa. Chris, welcome to the program. Welcome to Africa Live. Thank you for joining us. Chris, first and foremost, a ceasefire monitoring team is due to arrive in the eastern town of Uvira. What more can you tell us about its mandate, duration, and operations? What do we know?
Well, Richard, the spokesperson of the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the DRC confirmed the deployment of UN peacekeepers in the eastern city of Uvira in the coming days. She said that they are carrying out preparations to deploy the troops and declined to divulge more details about, the duration and the operations, how it will be going on. But what we know is that the peacekeepers will be deployed there to protect civilians, which is their core mandate. Last month when M23 rebels were pulling out of that city after getting a lot of pressure from the United States, they wrote a letter to the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, asking him to send a neutral force to protect civilians in that area, particularly the Tutsi community known as Banyamulenge, who they said were at risk of being attacked by the Wazalendo militia, who are a group that has been fighting alongside the DRC army. But the DRC dismissed that allegation, saying that they are not targeting any civilians in Uvira. They are only fighting against the M23 rebels who have illegally occupied territories in eastern DRC, as well as the Rwandan forces, despite UN Security Council resolution known as 2773, which called on them to stop their offensive and the Rwandan soldiers to withdraw from Congolese territory. So we're expecting the United Nations peacekeeping mission to make a statement about how this deployment will be carried out in the next coming days. Richard?
Let's talk more about that important background for our clarification there. Thank you so much. Now, this will be the first team deployed by the UN, Chris. How is the government in Kinshasa reacting to the developments, and what are the expectations, most importantly, on the ground?
Well, authorities in Kinshasa are very supportive about this deployment. President Felix Tshisekedi has been traveling around the world in conferences, calling on the international community to come to their rescue to stop this conflict that has gone on, since late 2021. Thousands of people have been killed and millions others have been displaced, and they're saying that this is an economic war, that the rebels have been targeting their minerals and exporting them through Rwanda to some of these European countries. So any kind of assistance, support by the international community is very welcome in the DRC to end this conflict. I also spoke to some people who are close to government officials who declined to be named, and they said that they are hoping that the UN peacekeepers carry out their mandate very effectively, because about 4 years ago there were concerns, a lot of criticisms against the United Nations peacekeeping mission. The people were saying they were very slow in reacting to some of these attacks. They were not protecting people in eastern DRC, and that was one of the reasons that the DRC government asked them to pack their bags and leave. But then as the war intensified, there was a sudden change of heart from the DRC government, and just last December the mandate of the UN peacekeeping mission was extended until 2027. So many people are hoping that this deployment will restore peace in eastern DRC. We're waiting to see how it turns out.